You had a full beard in 8th grade?
It was high school. Let's be okay.
Wow. Glenn had a beard in kindergarten.
Yes.
We're fairly small. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, all these other agencies took all your jobs. So.
And I get asked that quite a bit, and most of the things we use, I couldn't even divulge. So I can deputize all y'all right now.
Ooh. Okay. Let's make that official. Hello and welcome to another episode of Northside Now. This is the podcast where we take you on a tour through all of the ministries and the latest happenings around Northside Church to keep you better connected with your church family. My name's Patrick, and with me as always are my wonderful co-hosts, Glenn Miller and Kevin Bryant.
What's up?
What's up, guys?
Good to see you again.
How is it?
I just saw me this morning in the mirror.
Oh, and what did you say?
I need to do something about this hair.
There are such things as haircuts.
Yeah, I've heard of these. Yes.
Now, we also have in the podcast room today with us Tyreece Miller. And Tyreece is a member here at Northside with his wife, Kelly.
Yes.
And your son's names are?
Reese, he's 5, and Rhett.
Yeah, Reese.
He's 3.
Right. Reese and Rhett.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk more with Tyreece in a minute. But the reason I'm bringing him in so early, Patrick, is because he's a dad. And he can tell you when those little hands grab that beard here.
Yeah.
Patrick's going to have a baby in July.
Well, congratulations there, Patrick.
Thank you.
And when they get a hold of that beard.
And let me tell you something. I don't have hair on my head, so they love to grab this beard. Yeah.
When they get a hold of that
They
beard.
grab whatever is in front of them.
Yeah.
You see girls that have babies and they had long hair. Then it's not just a few months, that hair is shorter.
Yeah. I'm taking a couple of weeks off once the baby's born. If I come back after those 2 weeks and I may have no hair at all, so I may break the clippers back out. And
I don't think anybody's seen you clean shaven since 8th grade.
You had a full beard in 8th grade?
it was high school. Let's be okay.
Wow.
All right.
I tried. I couldn't really grow anything real until I was probably in college. But
I definitely couldn't grow anything
tried.
until I was maybe 28, something
Oh,
like that.
goodness.
Of course, we've talked about this before. Glenn had a beard in kindergarten.
Yes.
So,
Tyreece was also a Marine. And being in the Navy, where you had to do like the twice a day shaving.
Oh, yeah.
Or else they would wear you out.
Yes, the drill instructor. So in the morning time, he would take the back of his hand, he would rub it in. He would rub against your skin.
Really?
If he felt any scruff, it was on. You'd be doing a lot of push-ups.
yeah, I bet.
Now, did you go to Paris Island?
I did.
You went.
I went
to Paris Island.
There's a saying, I didn't go to Paris Island, I went through Paris Island. You just don't go to it, you go through it. And yeah, so I went to Paris Island. I was there. So I graduated high school in May of 92. And then 2 weeks afterward, I was at Paris Island.
Oh,
so
wow.
I spent my summer vacation on the island.
Well, Tyreece, you're a Marine, and we're recording this right around Memorial Day. And so what does Memorial Day mean for you?
Memorial Day means everything to me. It's why I joined. It's there's a higher calling, I believe, and I've always had a servant's heart and always wanted to serve. So, just being a part of the United States Armed Forces was an awesome feeling. And, Memorial Day is a day that we remember those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. So it really tugs at my heart whenever I think about veterans who have served and those who have just paid the price for us, for our freedom.
Yes, definitely.
And the ones that were engaged in, armed conflict, those friends and brothers that you remember, but didn't make it because of the ultimate sacrifice, like you said.
Absolutely. And, so many of soldiers who died, they were just very, very young men, 18, 19, 20 years old. We really owe a lot to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people may know Tyreece because he came back to Jackson after he went off the Marines. He grew up here, and then he worked for the police department.
I did.
And was a deputy chief, and now he's a U.S. Marshal.
Yeah. How about that?
Now, you don't have a big cowboy hat like Matt Dillon or anything.
Well, actually, I do. I just don't wear it.
Oh, he couldn't get it on the head with the headphones.
Yeah, I do have one. Being a U.S. Marshal, it's something that I never ever really thought would become a reality. But it just shows you how God works. I started out with the police department as a patrol officer, 1997, and just kind of worked my way up, and spent 23 years with Jackson PD. And then an opportunity presented itself, and I applied, and the The senators recommended me to the president, and I was appointed in 2020.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What does a marshal do? I mean, I think everybody knows kind of what the FBI does, and I know kind of what the marshals do because of some really cool movies. But what does the marshal service actually do?
Well, I'll give you a little history lesson here.
Yeah.
So the Marshal Service was created by the Judiciary Act of 1789. And President George Washington, when the first ever Congress passed the Judiciary Act, which created the federal court system. It created the federal judges, it created the Attorney General, and it created the U.S. Marshal. And the U.S. Marshal was created to carry out federal court orders. And that's when we were established. And so throughout our history, they figured out that there were a lot of things that in the United States that need to be done, and no one was around to do it other than the marshals. So for the first 90 years of our history, we counted people. We conducted the census.
Really?
Oh. We did.
I didn't know that.
We registered foreign nationals during World War I and World War II. We did enforcement against illicit counterfeiting before the Secret Service did it. We did enforcement against illicit drugs before the ATF did it. Because people think ATF, they think about guns, but ATF is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. And so we did enforcement against illicit distilling before it was legal. And so there's a lot of little things we did. And one of the things I really, really like about our agency is when it comes to enforcing court orders. If you think about Brown versus Board of Education, which was a Supreme Court ruling that desegregated schools.
Right.
Well, a lot of schools, a lot of leaders in the South were resistant to that. So what you found was the U.S. Marshals were going in and escorting little boys and little girls to school as they were being integrated because it was it was a federal court order. So we literally had to go in and enforce federal law. And we still do that today. Anytime there's a federal court order, we help enforce those.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot about that part of that particular history. But yeah, I do remember that now that they were involved. So many things that the marshals did then became separate agencies.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and you're
like you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
So like the U.S. Marshals are just like brave, big, bad, like get it done kind of people. It seems like how many marshals are there? Just curious.
Nationwide, there are about 5,000.
Okay.
Yeah, we're fairly small if you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, all these other agencies took all your jobs. So
yeah.
There's always going to be something.
The alphabet soup got too crazy. So.
Wow.
But we fall within the Department of Justice, and so within DOJ you have the FBI, the ATF, the DEA, but we were around before all of them, before they were created. But I think most people know us by watching The Fugitive, or my granddad's favorite show, Gunsmoke, Marshal, Matt Dillon.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. But we have a lot of cool history.
That's pretty neat. Now, how big of an area do you have in West Tennessee? Does it go beyond West Tennessee?
No.
Is it just Jackson? What do you have?
So there are 94 presidentially appointed U.S. Marshals, and I'm the U.S. Marshal for West Tennessee. And my territory is 22 counties. Okay. I have between the Mississippi River and the Tennessee River.
Okay.
So my biggest, my main office is in Memphis, and I have a sub office here in Jackson. But in all, I have 22 counties between the rivers.
Okay, cool.
Now, in terms of the people that you work with, you have folks that work with you that you supervise to do various things that you need to do.
Yeah, I have a chief deputy who he's more the my operations guy.
Yeah,
and I have about 25 deputy U.S. Marshals, and they do everything from fugitive investigations to court operations. We are kind of like the sheriff's department for the federal government.
Wow.
So if you are arrested on for a federal crime, you come into the United States courthouse to be booked in, and the marshals will take you before a federal judge. But yeah, we do the booking, we do the prisoner transportation. Like right now, I have 494 federal detainees in my custody who are awaiting trial before a federal judge.
Wow.
And once they are sentenced, they go into the Bureau of Prisons. But while they're pretrial, they're just accused and not have been convicted. They're considered in the custody of the U.S. Marshals.
And they sit in county courthouses county jails and things like that. So you have them kind of spread out too.
Correct. Yeah, they sit in county jails. We don't own any prisons. We just contract with sheriffs. And like right now, we have the largest majority of our prisoners are in the Shelby County Division of Corrections, also known as the Penal Farm.
Yeah.
And then we have We have a great deal of them at O'Brien County Jail. We have some in the Madison County Jail, Chester County Jail, Fayette County Jail.
Yeah.
So in all, I have about 494.
Wow.
And we're responsible for the custody, care, and control.
Now, also as we're recording this, the Uvalde shooting just happened.
Sure.
And you were a police officer, deputy chief, now as a marshal. I want to ask you two questions on this. One is just the nuts and bolts of that. How do you go and investigate that? I mean, that's got to be some of the toughest days that you see in law enforcement.
Well, I think it is tough, and my heart goes out to first of all to the victims and those families. I mean, gosh, I just being a dad,
right?
I cannot imagine. It's been difficult for me to watch. And normally watching, coverage, crime story, not stories, but crime on news, it normally doesn't bother me, but this has bothered me. It really has. I think it's a little bit different with Uvalde because the suspect has been, he was killed.
Right.
Yeah.
So more information is being released. You're able to learn more about, what he was doing, what he was thinking, his movements before. If he was still alive and there will be a prosecution pending, you probably wouldn't see all the information coming out because then that could bias a jury
That's
against
right.
him.
Right.
So I think it's important to make that distinction. But when it comes to something like that, I think you really want to interview your witnesses, talk to everybody who saw what happened, talk to all his friends, talk to all his family. When I say his, I mean the accused,
right?
And just figure out, get a biographical sketch, if you will, of him and what he was thinking, and you kind of want to build a case against him. But again, in this case, he's deceased, so you really don't see that.
Sure, yeah. And when you do that in all of law enforcement, and it's been, in my opinion, y'all have just been unfairly treated for the last few years. I mean, just people just saying things that just are just crazy to me, and they just die me because y'all deserve so much more respect than what a lot of people want to give. But you're here in our church. You're a part of Northside, and you're a man of faith.
I am.
So how does seeing this kind of work on a daily basis? I mean, we were talking beforehand, and Tyreece said this is definitely a calling, and I 1,000% agree with you. But how do you work with your faith into this? Because I know it's easy to become jaded.
Oh, yeah.
When you see the tougher, harder side of life on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's a calling. I think God calls us all to do different things. And what I've always tried to do is when I've investigated anything, there's a victim who deserves justice. And it's my job to be that fact finder who helps achieve justice for that person. And so the best way to discern the truth is to go to the accused and say, hey, these are the facts. These are what the witnesses are saying. This is what the video shows. This is what, we've got your DNA at the scene, or, you're on video doing this. What I don't know is why. Why did you make these decisions? And a lot of times when I approach them, I tell them, hey, I'm a believer. And I try to approach them from the aspect of, I believe in everybody has worth. No matter what you've done, you can be forgiven for your sins.
Yeah.
And I give them the opportunity to just say what's on their mind and clear their conscience.
Yeah.
And you would be surprised how you just kind of see like the weight is lifted off their shoulders. And when I tell them, hey, look, I'm not here to judge you. I said, that's not my job. I said, only God can judge you.
Yeah.
And I don't judge you. I just want to know, why'd you do this? And more times than not, they will tell you what happened. And I just, it's my job, but it's also, I am really trying to introduce them to Christ and just say, hey, look, he will save you. But the decision is yours. You have to repent, and you have to, ask for forgiveness. And that's usually how it starts.
That is such a good lesson for all of us, I think, because what you said is, I'm not here to judge you. A lot of people that are either grew up in the church, but moved away, just feel very disenfranchised by the church, quote, finger quotes, feel judged. They feel very judged. And us as Christians, we have to come into conversations like that, understanding that, number one, and approaching that it's not our job to tell them they're doing wrong. This is the way I approach it too. So I'm explaining a little bit of how I feel, but to say, I'm not here to judge you, I'm just here to share with you or listen to you or whatever it is. As a parent, especially of teenagers, which is what I am right now, you come in like that, you're not going to get anything.
No.
And so that's a good lesson for us. I mean, as we deal with adults, as we deal with coworkers, as we deal, anytime there's conflict, if you go in like that, you're just not going to get a good result. But if you come in with a sense of, I just want to be here, someone even grieving, you can't go in and fix it. You just got to be there to listen, to be there to support, those kinds of things. That we could take a real good lesson from that, I think, in our culture in general, but just as a culture of Christ too, that's the way we should be approaching. That's the way Jesus approached it.
You're absolutely right.
And if he's our example, we should be following that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's good. Now, y'all are also famous for, the cool stuff like the manhunts and stuff like that. What was the show, the guy in Jackson? Was it the escape room guy that won that?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
What was that show?
Wasn't it called Manhunt?
It may have been. So where he won that show where they were following you like on ATM cameras and all that stuff. And we've seen, TV movies or TV shows. I mean, what kind of things do y'all use? Don't give away all your really good secrets, but what kind of things do y'all use when you're looking for someone like this? Because I think that's what a lot of people think the Marshals, they're the manhunt people, right? They're going to find that fugitive.
Yeah. That's a really good question. And I get asked that quite a bit. And most of the things we use, I couldn't even divulge. But what I can tell you is this: if the U.S. Marshal Service is looking for you,
you might get found.
You might as well just give up because I promise you will be caught. Last year alone, I'll tell you, just our district, our 22 county district, we cleared over 2,000 warrants.
Wow.
We arrested, I think, 185 people just on murders. And that's a large number, and so that most of that number are people that are in Memphis. Memphis had a record number of homicides last year.
Wow.
But we arrested a lot of people, and we arrest them everywhere. Another thing we do is we arrest people internationally. So if you're wanted by the United States and you're in another country, the marshals are the ones who go and bring you back to the United States. Okay. If you're wanted for a federal crime.
Yeah.
For instance, I don't know if y'all ever heard of John McAfee.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. John McAfee, he was wanted. He was living in Henderson County when he was indicted here for tax evasion, and he was caught in Spain. And I was one of the guys who was going to go to Spain and bring him back to the United States. But the day that the judge said, okay, you can be extradited back to the United States, he committed suicide. So I was looking forward to that.
So it just depends on kind of where the person in charge is. I mean, any of the marshals could go interact with Interpol or whomever.
Yes.
It just depends on. There's not like an international division. It just depends on where the.
Correct. So if you're indicted, whatever district you're indicted out of, he was indicted here, so we would have been responsible for getting him back to the United States.
So not only are you involved in domestic things, you could be potentially involved in international relations.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
That show was called Hunted.
Hunted.
It was on CBS.
That's it.
Lee Wilson, who owns the Jackson Escape Room, won the first season.
That's right.
He wouldn't have won if Tyreece was there.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna, Lee. I didn't know him well, but a friend of his reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to be going on this show. You have any tips?" And so I shared a few things with him.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, that's how he won. Yeah.
I've never told anybody that until just right now. But
Pretty funny.
Well, when you have, and I was going to ask this earlier, and maybe it's political, but when you have things like the fugitive that camped out in North Carolina or something was missing for a very long time, they thought he was hiding in the woods, getting help, etc. How do the agencies interact? So where does the FBI stop and U.S. Marshals come in? Does everybody work together? I mean, in the movies and TV, everybody's always at each other.
Yeah.
You're like, man, the FBI came in and took it away from me. All this stuff.
Fighting for jurisdiction.
And I know, TV and movies aren't so real sometimes, but I was just curious about that, how the different groups work together, because there has to be some cooperation with something that big.
Well, TV can sensationalize a lot of things, but we always work together. I mean, everybody kind of has their lane, if you will. When it comes to fugitive hunting, they pretty much leave it to the marshals if they want our assistance. And most agencies do want our assistance. And when they ask for help, then we're right there. And once we adopt the case as a fugitive investigation, it becomes ours. And we just, like I said, we get on it like a bloodhound, and we just don't let up. Yeah. We have the manpower, the resources. and we'll just stay on it until they're found, or either they're confirmed as deceased.
Right.
You have a lot of interaction of the agencies working together.
Yeah.
I think I've seen in the newspapers recently that you had a big operation here not too long ago. Was it Tennessee River or something like that? I don't know. But there was a big operation, and you have to have more people involved. You're probably working with sheriff's departments and police departments and all kinds of people for something like that all over this area, right? Yeah.
The good thing about the Marshal Service is we're really known for working with our state and local partners. Like, for instance, we're only about 5,000 strong nationally, and I only have about 25 deputies in my district, but I have the ability to deputize. So I could deputize all y'all right now.
Okay.
Let's make that official.
But since the beginning of Marshal Service, we would deputize average everyday citizens and form what's called a posse. And we would go get the bad guy. I would deputize you and say, hey, he robbed a stagecoach. He went that way. Let's go get him.
Right.
We jump on horses and we all ride out.
Right.
So we still do that today. We deputize officers, sheriff's deputies, state law enforcement. We can deputize anybody and they become special deputy U.S. Marshals. And so during that operation you're talking about, so we deputized people from Memphis Police Department, Jackson Police Department, Tennessee Department of Correction, different agencies, and we did just a big roundup. We arrested probably 45 people in some of the rural counties that you don't really normally hear about things going on. So that was really cool. But I tell you, one of the coolest things I've done since I've been here is within the Marshal Service, Congress has given us the power to rescue missing kids. So it doesn't have to be a crime nexus. We can just rescue missing children if they're endangered. So last year we did a statewide operation called Operation Volunteer Strong, where we teamed up with the TBI and the Tennessee Department of Children's Services, and we rescued 150 missing children. In Tennessee. Cool. Yeah, so that was really awesome.
Wow, that is.
Do y'all work with sex trafficking in the? Is that a federal crime?
Yeah, it is. So it is. Yeah, anytime when you think about sex trafficking, if you take a child or anything where you cross state lines, it's considered. It can be a federal
at that point.
It's a federal crime, and we work with. We work with everybody, all the different agencies.
Well, the lesson of the day has been Tyreese's job is cooler than the rest of ours.
Basically.
He's got fun toys and
I do
hidden talents, and he can deputize people. Patrick, why can't you deputize people?
I went into the wrong career field for that.
I'll tell you one of the coolest things I've done thinking about deputizing. Have y'all seen Tombstone?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Tombstone. Yeah. So Wyatt Earp, you know who Wyatt Earp was. Okay. Yeah. So I actually, and every appointed marshal gets to do this, but I actually signed my oath on a desk used by Wyatt Earp.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah. They found a desk that he used when he was in Arizona. And I have a picture of me signing my oath on Wyatt Earp's desk.
That's really cool.
That's very cool.
Really cool.
I got to ask this question. When you were a kid, did you think you'd be a U.S. Marshal?
Oh, my God. Oh, for heavens, no. When I was a kid, I really had no idea. I tell you what I really thought. I thought I was going to make a career out of the military.
Okay.
When I enlisted, I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this forever.
Yeah.
And I got in the military, and my job was communications. I was a radio operator.
Okay.
And I started observing the MPs, and I thought, man, it's a really cool job. I want to be an MP. And so as my tour was coming to an end, I thought it'd be really cool to go back home and either become a firefighter or a police officer. I just knew I wanted to serve the public. And the fire department missed out, and the PD called first, and that's where I went.
That's funny how our lives just take these twists and turns.
Yes, absolutely.
God orchestrates it all and uses it for something good.
Absolutely, he does.
Yeah.
We think we know, but he knows.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's funny because Jake Nickel was a radio operator in the Marine Corps as well.
Really?
Yeah. So we have two Marine radio operators here at Northside.
Wow.
That's funny. Well, do talk about Northside a little bit. What brought y'all to Northside?
I have to thank Steve and Christy Little.
Yeah.
They invited us to come here, and we visited when Pastor Don was still here, and Gary Campbell, who when I was working at the police department, he was a captain, and then he got promoted to deputy chief, and so I actually was promoted through the ranks and filled the position that he once held.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Gary's always been a mentor of mine. And just Steve got me here, and Gary kind of kept me here.
Yeah.
And there are so many people who I'm friends with in the community. I had no idea they were members of Northside.
Oh yeah.
When I started seeing them, like Jerry Gay and different people like that, it's just a great family environment. And we
say, don't hold that one against us.
I was gonna say, is that we might have to edit that part
out. but we absolutely love Northside. I mean, we're raising our family through Northside, and we just absolutely love it.
Yeah, your boys cracked me up. No, it wasn't too long ago. One of them just took off down the hallway.
I think I remember
and
this.
Tyreece was like, I gotta chase him. And so it was really funny because he came back in. I said, well, I'm glad that one didn't get away. So it's pretty good.
But they love Northside as well. I mean, during the pandemic, when we were watching online, they would always, they would sing along with the, with the songs and everything. It's just really, really great.
We've talked a lot, especially this year, of course, with Pastor Kevin coming in and all the change and everything. Speaking for myself, I'm really excited about all the change. What do you what's your take on, the last year or so? It's been an up and down thing, right? Coming back off the pandemic and things different, and sometimes that's scary, and people don't know what to think about it. But
right, the thing about I wasn't the new kid anymore when Kevin came.
That's right.
So it was pretty cool. But Kevin is just so, and I love Pastor Don.
Sure.
He's the one that baptized my children. But Kevin, he's just brought so many new, fresh ideas and things he's doing. I just really love it.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, Tyreece, thanks for coming in and spending a little time with us. And what we've been doing is we've been talking with Tyreece and people in our church that do cool things, and you may or may not know that outside of them, and they're fairly new to the church. And it's funny, you're fairly new to the church. You've been here 3 or 4 years or something like that. And so but we are so glad to have you here. We want you to stay safe and keep your deputies safe and all that. And we just know that we're praying for you. Yeah. And we're behind you. And anytime you need to deputize 3 people, call us.
Well, thank you so much. As I told you before, this is my first podcast. So hey, I cut my teeth today. But it's been really fun. It's just a conversation with 3 guys, and it's been fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and what about the room? This is just one of the coolest rooms in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love all our decorations.
I tell you what, my kids will be all into those Pop-Tarts. I tell you that.
We say those for emergencies.
Yeah, those are for break time. But, well, Patrick, what else do we have coming up here pretty soon?
We've got softball coming up this month. Glenn, when's the cutoff to sign up and get involved with that?
Well, the games start on the 13th, and we'll be playing over. Tyreece, are you a softball player?
I play a little bit.
Tyreece may play with us. But on the 13th of June is when we're going to start playing over it that week over at West Jackson. And so if you're interested in playing, there's still room on the team. Give me a holler, and we'll get you signed up. Let you know when the schedule is, and have a good time this summer playing a little softball.
You have to have tryouts, and make sure you get batting practice in, and you check their fielding and all that, right?
Yeah, you gotta try out on the sandlot.
Yeah.
So if you can't make it on the sandlot, then.
Well, you can find out more information about that on our website, northsidejackson.com/recreation. Check it out. We've also got June 23rd coming up is the Mothership. It's a mom's group, and they're going to do a paint party. So that's going to be June 23rd at 6 o'clock p.m., $15. That'll cover the canvas and the paint and everything, and there will be a nursery provided. So if you're a mom and you want to hang out with some other moms, make sure you sign up online or on the app. And then coming up in July 11th through 15th, we're going to make some waves with VBS.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's going to be gnarly, dude. Yeah. Totally tubular.
That's rad.
It's going to be a beach theme, which will be fun. That's about all I know about that. But we do need a lot of volunteers to make that happen. So if you want to volunteer, if you want to sign your kid up, go online to northsidejackson.com/VBS and check it out. Also, during the month of July, there will be no Wednesday night activities. Take a little bit of a breather, spend some time with your family or doing summer things.
Yeah, and that's new too. We've never done that. We've taken a couple of Wednesday nights off, but never the whole month. So. And I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I know for me, after the pandemic, we are all kind of itching to get back at it. I think we just kind of overwhelmed ourselves a little bit.
Rhythms are good in life.
Rhythms are good. So yeah, that's going to be good.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for podcasting with me.
Right.
And thanks to all of you out there in the world for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram at Northside Now Podcast. Go to our website, northsidejackson.com, or email us at podcast@northsidejackson.com. We hope to hear from you soon. Once again, this is Patrick.
This is Glenn.
I'm Kevin.
Tyreece.
And that's what's happening at Northside Now.